Flourish, a transformative podcast that guides you toward becoming the best version of yourself professionally and personally. Each episode empowers you to release the limitations, fears, and old patterns that keep you stuck, while embracing the strategies and mindsets that lead to true success. Through powerful conversations and expert insights, you'll discover how to transform your career trajectory while maintaining inner balance, build unshakable confidence in your abilities, create meaningful relationships that support your growth, and master the art of letting go to make room for what serves you. Whether you're climbing the corporate ladder, building your dream business, or seeking deeper personal fulfillment, Let It Go and Flourish provides the guidance you need to thrive in all areas of life. Join our community of forward-thinking individuals who are ready to release what no longer serves them and step into their full potential. New episodes drop every Friday at 12 o'clock noon Eastern Standard Time. Visit merlinclark.com to listen to the podcast and take the first step toward your extraordinary future. Remember, your greatest self emerges when you let go of who you think you should be and embrace who you truly are. Let it go and flourish. Release, renew, and rise.
Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of Let It Go and Flourish podcast show. I am your host, Merlin Clark, leadership and life coach, certified DISC behavioral analyst, and the founder of MAC Leadership Solutions, LLC. Now, I thank you so much for spending part of your day with me. Whether you're listening on your morning commute, taking a walk, or in your kitchen prepping the next meal, I am grateful you're here. If you're tuning in for the first time, Let It Go and Flourish is a transformative podcast that guides you to becoming the best version of yourself, both professionally and personally. The show was inspired from my book, Let It Go and Flourish. Live a life of peace, passion, and purpose. And that book is available on Amazon. However, if you would like a signed copy, you may purchase that directly from me. You can message me during this show, after the show, and I'll be very happy to connect with you on how you can get a signed copy. Now, today's conversation is one that every leader, manager, entrepreneur, and professional needs to hear. We're talking about the difference between organizations built on respect and organizations built on intimidation. Because unfortunately, some are built on intimidation. And you may be thinking, Merlin, intimidation? Surely that doesn't happen very often. My friends, unfortunately, it happens more than we realize. Sometimes it looks like yelling. Sometimes it looks like public criticism. Sometimes it looks like micromanagement. How many of you have experienced a leader who micromanage your work? And sometimes it's much quieter. It's the leader who constantly dismisses ideas, refuses to listen, or creates an environment where employees are afraid to speak. Here's the truth. People may comply because they fear you, but they commit because they trust you. Friends, trust is the cornerstone of every relationship. And if they're producing out of fear, as opposed to being themselves, and because they trust you, you need to think about that. That's the heart of today's episode. So let's dive in. I want to share a tale of two leaders. Let's call them ABC Corporation and XYZ Corporation. In ABC Corporation, employees walk into meetings feeling confident. They ask questions, they offer ideas. When they make a mistake, they admit it because they know they'll receive coaching instead of humiliation. They leave work feeling energized and valued. Now imagine XYZ Corporation. Employees carefully choose every word before they speak. They avoid eye contact with leadership. No one wants to volunteer ideas because the last person who did was publicly criticized. People keep their heads down, do only what's required, and quietly search for another job. They're not going to tell you why they're searching for another job. They just quietly do so. They're leaving the leader, not the organization. Here's what's fascinating, my friends. Both organizations may have talented employees. Both may have similar products. Both may have similar budgets. Yet ABC Corporation continues to grow while XYZ Corporation struggles with turnover, low morale, and declining innovation. The difference isn't talent, the difference is culture. And culture is always shaped by leadership. Respect is more than being nice. When we hear the word respect, many people think about politeness, and that's part of it. But respect is much deeper than saying please and thank you. Respect is communicating to people. I see your value. I believe your voice matters. I trust your abilities. I care about your growth. Respect doesn't eliminate accountability. That's not what I'm saying. We should be held accountable when we are wrong, but there should be a path where the leader provides an opportunity for coaching so that the employee will improve, correct their mistakes, learn from their mistakes, grow from their mistakes, not be humiliated. Because the opposite of that, when you disrespect and you don't coach and you humiliate, those employees shut down. Morale is dampened. They don't speak up in meetings. They may have some great ideas, but they will never share them because you're going to humiliate them. That's what happened to the last person who shared an idea that leaders did not think was a good one. Also, employees are more creative and innovative when they are respected rather than being humiliated and disrespected. They will share their ideas, they speak up in meetings. They're more creative because they know that when they make mistakes, the leader shows empathy. That's what missing from a lot of organizations, a lack of empathy and trust. Respectful leaders often hold higher standards because they believe people are capable of excellence. So they hold people accountable. They coach instead of condemn. That's the difference. They correct behavior without attacking the employee's character. They don't, you did this, you did that. They don't threaten. They ask questions before making assumptions. Respect says, I want you to succeed. Intimidation says, you'd better not fail. Think about the difference. One sounds encouraging and inspiring, correct? And the other threatens and creates anxiety. Which of these two leaders are you? Which of them do you thrive to be? And not only that, there's a cost for everything. There are consequences for everything. And there is a hidden cost of intimidation. Many leaders underestimate how expensive intimidation really is. They think that fear improves productivity, but in fact, fear creates survival. When people operate in a survival mode, they stop taking healthy risks. They're no longer innovative or creative because they fear humiliation. They stop sharing their ideas. They hide mistakes. They avoid difficult conversations. And eventually, they disengage. Some employees leave physically. For others, they may stay, but they have already emotionally checked out. What's the culture of the team you have in your organization? Have you done a check on your employees? Have you done a SWOT analysis of your employees, not just of the organization as a whole, but of your employees? You may have heard the phrase, people don't leave jobs, they leave leaders. And that is correct. Because another leader may come into that organization and turn things around where people become innovative, creative. They don't hide their mistakes because they know they will not be condemned. While there are many reasons people change jobs, leadership behavior is often a major factor in whether talented people stay and grow or decide it's time to move on. I'm checking out of this place. There's no place for me here. Family, there is a ripple effect. When employees don't feel respected, customer service often declines. Can your organization survive and thrive without customers? No. Innovation slows. Departments become disconnected. Conflict increases. Trust decreases. And here's something I've learned over the years. Silence in meetings doesn't always mean agreement. People don't want to speak up. Sometimes it means people no longer feel safe enough to speak up. As leaders, that's a question we must ask ourselves. Have I created an environment where people feel safe to contribute? Do you want your employees to contribute or just do what they're told? If you want your employees to just do what they're told, then maybe it's time for robots. But if you want your employees to be innovative, creative, and think, you have to create that safe space for them. You have to show them respect. I recall this friend shared with me, she went to work on Monday morning. She went to her usual desk. None of her things were at her desk. Her pictures of her children were gone. All her personal things were gone. And when she went to her manager and said, "What's going on?" "Oh, we think you'll be better suitable on another team where they could use your expertise. So we moved you to another team." She was shocked. There was never a discussion about her performance and the contribution she will make to the other team. Nothing like that was shared. They just switched her over without having a discussion with her. How do you think she felt? How would you feel? Let's think about that. What would you have done differently if you were that manager? How long do you think that employee stuck around? Let me tell you, she did not. She moved on and she's in a healthier environment and she's thriving. Now let's look at DISC, a respect through the DISC lens. As a certified DISC behavioral analyst, I often remind leaders that respect isn't experienced the same way by everyone. We're different, right? Each DISC style has unique communication needs. Remember, the 4 styles are the dominant, that's the D, the I, influential, the S, they're steady and stable, and the C style, they're conscientious. All right? Someone with a high D style appreciates trust, autonomy, and the freedom to make decisions. Constant micromanagement can quickly erode trust because the D style employees are decision makers. Now, those who are high style employees, they thrive on encouragement, collaboration, and recognition. Public criticism can be especially discouraging for them. What about the S style? Those employees, they value safety, patience, and genuine care. They need support. They don't embrace changes too well. So if the person who came in on Monday morning and their things were just moved, if that person is an S-style employee, that would not work for them. Abrupt changes without communication can create unnecessary stress. With them, you need to take your time and communicate. Those with a high C style appreciate accuracy, preparation, and thoughtful decision making. They don't like to rush through anything. They want you to give them details. Provide them with accuracy and details. So when leaders understand these differences among the different style employees, they stop treating everyone the same and begin leading everyone effectively. Respect becomes personal, communication becomes intentional, and relationships become stronger. But you may be asking yourself, okay, you've given that information. How do we build a culture of respect? Where do I start? Let me share a few practical strategies for you. First, listen more than you speak. I was often told as a youngster, I have 2 ears and 1 mouth. That means I need to listen more and speak less. That's true. One of the greatest gifts you can give another person is your full attention. You show that you respect them. Second, coach privately and celebrate publicly. Don't yell at them in public when they make a mistake. Do that in private. Not yell, but coach privately. People remember how leaders make them feel. And yes, employees should be held accountable, but I encourage you to correct with dignity. Third, explain the why. When employees understand the purpose behind the decisions, they're far more likely to support those decisions. They get on board quicker. You get their full cooperation. Yes, it's your team. It may be your organization, but you're not doing it alone, and you cannot do it alone. Fourth, recognize contributions regularly. People flourish where appreciation is part of the culture. And do that publicly. Remember, coach privately and you show your appreciation publicly. Finally, my friends, lead with emotional intelligence. Pause before reacting. You want to respond with wisdom instead of emotion. Don't yell and scream and point fingers at people. That's disrespectful. Would you like to be treated in that manner? Of course not. Treat people the way you want to be treated. And better yet, treat them the way they want to be treated. Your team is always watching, not just what you say, but they're watching how you say it. Leadership is modeled long before it's taught. Let me repeat that. Leadership is modeled before it is taught. Your team members are watching. Lead by example. I will never leave without a challenge. So here's a challenge for you. As I close today's episode, I'd like to leave you with a few reflection questions. I want you to ask yourself, when people see my name on their phone, do they feel encouraged or anxious? And when you see someone's name on your phone, how do you feel? Do my words build confidence or create fear? Am I developing people or merely directing them? You direct traffic, you develop people. Remember, every conversation is shaping your culture. Everything, every meeting is reinforcing your leadership. Every interaction is either building trust or weakening it. Think about what you desire in your organization and how you're going to act. You don't need to be the loudest leader in the room. You need to be the leader who creates an environment where people feel respected enough to do their best work. And when you lead with respect and you lead them differently based on their style, morale improves, communication improves, productivity improves, performance improves, and guess what? Revenue improves. When we don't lead with respect, that can become a revenue leak. That can become a revenue leak. Organizations built on respect don't just perform better, they develop better people. And better people build better organizations. So, friends, thank you for joining me for another episode of Let It Go and Flourish. If today's episode encouraged you, I invite you to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a leader, a manager, business owner, or someone who is committed to building healthier workplaces. So until next time, remember, leadership isn't about controlling people. It's about creating an environment where people can flourish. Remember, I'm all about the flourishing business. So let it go. Let go of disrespect and flourish. Take care. Keep growing and never stop leading with respect. And I'm going to put with my social handles, if you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, Facebook, or Instagram, I'm going to drop that in the comment here. Hi, Bella. Thanks for tuning in today. Thank you, my dear. Thanks for being here. Until next time, this is Merlin A. Clark of Mac Leadership Solutions, LLC. Keep leading, keep valuing. Remember, you are a person of value, and you should thrive to add value to others. Until next time, take good care. Goodbye.